Well, hello once again, and you're here with Steve Swift from Behind the Business, and always here with John. How are you doing, John?
I'm good, thanks, Steve. It feels like it was only 5 minutes since we spoke before.
And it could well be the case that it was, but that's another story for another day. Welcome, everybody, to Behind the Business, episode 17. Now, we have done a short video. That's why John was making the comment he has, just to announce and promote and let people know that we've got our new branding now live. So we're very excited about that. John's been busy putting all that together on the website and setting up the new YouTube channel. So it's all there with behindthebusiness.uk for the website URL and the Behind the Business podcast on YouTube. You can hear us on iTunes and Apple Play and all the other podcast providers out there. So there's no escaping being able to transform your mind and your business through all the content we share with you and have done over the previous 16 episodes. So, John, it's a bit of an exciting time for us, really, at Behind the Business with all this new branding going on.
Yeah, there's all sorts going on, isn't there, Steve? It's good times. It's good times.
It is. And, sorry, go on. You were going to say something?
No, carry on.
No, I was just going to say that we're obviously going to launch into this week's episode, following on, as always, from previous episodes and trying to keep that flow going and keep you in the right direction rather than jumping about too much and getting some confusion. So just to quickly reiterate, last week, episode 16 was about split testing your ads and tweaking them for optimization to improve the performance and get the best increase of your AROI, your advertising return on investment. So this week, what we wanted to touch on was how you can prepare, because that was about paid advertising and one thing or another. What I wanted to focus on this week and give you some quality content and some tips on is how to prepare before. I'm going to have to get my teeth sorted out, aren't I? This just isn't working. I will be drinking my coffee very shortly because I obviously need it. How to prepare before starting to do organic marketing. Now, this is obviously the free side of doing stuff. It does take a little bit longer sometimes to get results, but if you're low on budget, you haven't got much finances behind you, it's a great way to get yourself out there and get seen. But in this episode, we're going to show you how to prepare your online presence before you start to engage with people, so your profiles tell a lot of the story for you. They already answer a lot of the questions, and it makes sure that the people that come to check you out know what you do, who you help, how you help them, and whether or not they're the right sort of fit for you and you're the right sort of fit for them. It's a way of filtering people out. So that's what we're going to be doing in today's episode, John. So exciting episode yet again.
Sounds good to me, Stevie. Sounds good to me.
And we love to deliver on this episode.
Definitely an area that I know I've asked your advice on in the past as well, and taking your advice. So looking forward to this one.
Fantastic. Now, I will say, obviously, always be prepared to expect the unexpected, and there's going to be no change in this episode. In fact, I just want to share a little story, and I haven't even told John this yet because it only happened literally about 2 hours ago. And when I say expect the unexpected, something happened in my back garden. And for those that don't know, we flew a rescue dog that was in a really bad state in South Korea, and she's now our puppy dog. Because she's come from a rescue background, she doesn't necessarily know how to play and do the things that normal dogs would do from being a pup and growing up around other dogs and having fun and one thing or another, because she was in like the dog meat trade, so she was destined for other things other than having a happy life. So that's why we said get her over here, Sharpish. Some people agree with that, some don't, but we decided that's what we wanted to do. The thing about the expect unexpected scenario was we got her a bone from the local butchers, because we've been down to local butchers near where we live. We've got some bits and pieces, and they have a big bucket where you can literally just help yourself if you purchase things, and you can take the bones for your pets. Now, sometimes she's okay with these, sometimes she's not. So we gave her this bone, and it's about this long, John. It was about a foot long, there or thereabouts. It's quite a thick bone, a little bit of meat on it, but there's a bit of weight as well. So, and she's only a small dog, so trying to get her to understand what to do with it is usually a task in itself, let alone carry it. But she managed to finally put her jaws around it and waddle off and down the decking and in at the back garden. And then she just kind of left it. Now, this is the unexpected part. No word of a lie. This huge black crow swooped from the orchard at the back of our garden onto the fence. It saw the bone, it came down, no one around, picked a bit off and flew off Sharpish. And we saw it at the orchard at the back, and it obviously liked the tasty morsel it got. So it decided it was going to, edge its bet. And it came flying back onto the fence again, saw there was no one around, swooped down, grabbed the bone in its beak, picked it up and took off. I have never seen anything like it. You know, I sort of think, you know, I'm fearful for our dog now. It was
That's,
like unbelievable.
that's fantastic. They're big birds, crows. We've got a nest of them in our back garden. We've got some big trees at one end, and yeah, we've got a nest of crows in the back, and they're huge. They're really big.
Oh yeah, this was scaring me. And then when it flew off, it was obviously squawking its head off to its mate, saying, "Oh, there's a free buffet in that garden. Get yourself over." So we had to remove the other bones that were in the garden. We've had to hide them. Otherwise, you know, Skyra's name of our dog, she's not going to get a look in, unfortunately, bless her. But yeah, just wanted to share that little humorous and really bizarre happenings that took place today. And obviously the unexpected, expected, not one thing or another is what I want to talk about in this episode, because what people don't expect to see when they're searching for you online, which is why we're talking about preparing your profiles, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's on LinkedIn. There's lots of things that people miss out on doing, and they don't expect it to have an impact on their connection or their contacts that they can achieve and get, you know, to grips with, and people to engage with, and those people to then out of the blue message them saying, I've been looking at your stuff and your content, and I want to know if you can help us. And it can come out of the blue sometimes. So that's why I wanted to touch on this today. So silly little story to begin with, but it's relevant based on obviously what we're going to go into, John. Is there anything you wanted to jump in before we really get into this?
No, that's absolutely fine, Steve. You carry on. I'm all ears.
Right. Cool. Right. So what we're looking at,
remember Pop?
We're having one of those episodes, aren't we? So what we're going to be looking at is, first and foremost, we'll look at Facebook, and then we'll look at LinkedIn. Facebook and Instagram is similar, but they have got different audiences. So that's where the polls are different, and there's different characters, different ways you can do it. The actual structure is very similar, though, certainly on Facebook and LinkedIn to a degree. Now, I'm not going to deep dive into the nitty gritty and the advanced settings stuff, so don't worry about that. I'm going to keep it fairly simple and straightforward, but things that you can action. Okay, so first and foremost, when you're looking at your cover image or your header image, so you've all got these on your Facebook, and if you're on LinkedIn, you've got them on your LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn, however, is one that people tend to not use. And I've banged on about this before, John, in previous episodes, haven't I, about the online real estate and maximizing the message that you want to send to people by using images that tells a story, you know, the usual anecdote, you know, a picture tells 1,000 words. Well, then use it. And so many people have a blank LinkedIn account cover or header image. So make sure there's something in there. And I'm going to give you some tips and ideas on what to put in there. Same thing goes for your profile. You know, make sure it's certainly on LinkedIn, head and shoulders shot. You know, some people think it's great to have, you know, a picture there with your dog, since I mentioned our dog earlier on, or with the family, or with a beer in your hand and stuff like that. LinkedIn isn't the place for it. You can drop posts in there that can relate to events that's happened. Absolutely fine. But it's a bit of more of a professional image, and you want to get that across to people. And as they read your post, they'll get those little bits of insights into your personal life, as well as what you do business-wise as well. So that's the mix in the post. Again, touch on that either in this episode or a future episode if we start to run short of time. So those are the two things you need to make sure you've got in first. When you're doing things on Facebook as well as LinkedIn, I was just mentioning about the cover and the header image. Now, this is a place where you don't want to be putting pictures of you sat on the beach or whatever it might be, unless obviously that relates to your business and you're a travel agent, for example, you know, then that's perfectly fine. But for most people, it's more a case of explaining to people what you do. And that can be a couple of images. You'll see from our new branding that we mentioned before. Have a look at, don't go now because you're watching this, but after this episode, go and have a look at behindthebusiness.uk. You get an idea. What we've done there is to portray the message as to what this is all about. And that's why we've got the two images of profile images of John and myself with a text that explains who we are. And we've got them the right way around. We didn't to begin with, but we sorted that one out. And then the window, it's like looking to come in and look in, hence the behind the business thing. So it's a bit of play on caricature kind of look to it, but it's also got a direct message and a clear indication as to what you can expect from us. And that's the same thing that you need to do on your Facebook personal profile. And some people have a bit of a standoffish approach to this, and they don't really want to show their friends and family what they're doing business. Well, do they pay your bills? If they don't pay your bills, then do what's going to help your business. And this is, John can help with this. This is a mindset shift, is this. Certainly John's area, not mine. When you start to come to those hurdles of, oh, but what will people think if, or what will people say if that, John's your guy to help you with that. And I'm sure John will chip in a couple of minutes to add some more content on that. But when you've got the images, don't forget to use text as well. And test the images out. Look at it on a laptop, look at it on a mobile phone device, if you've got one of these, which I'm sure you have, or a tablet, and just check the layout. And John did this with ours, and it's a good job he did, because ours didn't quite look right to begin with, and we had to tweak it and adjust it. So make sure you test anything that you put on first as well, because there's no point in having a message saying, hey, I'm Steve, and they can't see the rest because it's not on the screen. So just make sure the layout's well. A quick tip for you, if you want it done professionally at low cost, you can go to places like Upworks, you can go to Fiverr.com. There's plenty of places out there that will be able to generate you a very professional looking graphic that fits and is mobile optimized in one thing or another. So make sure profile image is professional head shoulder shot. Make sure your cover header image explains exactly what you do with a call to action in there as well, like an arrow down to a button so they can link. When you're then talking about your bios, and I'll touch on this bit and then hand over to John to obviously add some more about that. What if people think this about me, one thing or another? So just hang with me 2 seconds, John, and Michael be yours, mate. Is when you're talking about the bio, this is the text part. Now, this is a key thing. This is a killer tip on LinkedIn, is this. At the moment, and I don't know how long they're going to leave this for, but at the moment, and people miss this massively, and I'm actually building a brand new LinkedIn account based on this. When you write your bio, the very first part that you put in your bio needs to be and should be a website URL. Now, they might stop this, but at the moment they're not. And the reason for doing that in that particular part of the bio is, and I'll explain, in fact, I'll quickly jump in here and just stop and say, that link, don't send it to your website. Send it to your landing page with your special offer, your lead magnet, your free downloads, your free masterclass, your free webinar. We've talked about this in previous episodes, so I'm not going to explain what that is. Go back to those episodes and watch them, and it'll explain how you do that. But have that link going to that, not to your generic page. And there's a very good reason for that. You want them to engage with you and give you their details. And that's what the landing page is all about. That way you can connect with them. They can get a bit of stuff from you, find out a bit more about you at a distance, so there's no pressure. And then from there, you will get a conversion. Those that don't, fine, it filters them out. It might be not for now. But those that are interested will then communicate and take the steps further without feeling pressure and sold to. So make sure you have that link in your bio and very clearly explain what you do. So there's one guy I know that says, from broke water bottle salesman to multimillionaire. All right, okay, well, he's obviously done all right for himself. How's he done it? It's that intrigue thing. So I can go into that more if you want to. Get in touch and we'll deep dive into a session on that on the phone. But John, did you want to just add some more into that mindset of the fear of what will people in my family of friends or circle of friends think if I start to promote myself online in a different way that they're not used to?
Yeah, I mean, in a real way, in a real sense, this is an extension of the fear that you're going to feel every time you do something new when you're setting up a business. Every time you put your head above the parapet, so to speak, you're going to be thinking, what are people going to think of this? What if people don't like it? What if I get a bad response to this? And that's something that we all go through. Me and Steve are no exception to that. And it's something that you just got to, you've got to find a way of moving past that, because if you don't move past that, you haven't got a business. That's the first thing to say. The second thing to say is, particularly with Facebook is not a business platform. It's a social platform, as opposed to LinkedIn, which is a business platform, not a social platform. Now, that's a big distinction, because the majority of people that go onto Facebook, apart from the ads and stuff, if you know them personally, they're not expecting to see you advertise. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. What it means is your advert will stand out. Now, if you're putting a header image which advertises your business at the top of your personal page, you may get people saying, well, what does he think he's doing? It's supposed to be a personal site. I didn't want to see an advert for it. Well, here's something to take into account. The people that are saying that in your family and friends, they're saying that about you anyway. They're already saying he's setting up his own business. Who does he think he is?
Or she.
Or she, you know.
Or them.
Whoever you are, you know, those people, they're already saying, getting a bit above the stage, you know, aren't they? Why can't they just get a job like everybody else? And the reason for that is because setting up your own business or your own company is not for everyone. It's a lot of hard work. It's extremely, the processes are simple, but the psychological side to it can be quite complex. And people don't want to do it. That fear you're feeling about what will people think of me, that's already stopped everybody else that's moaning at you. And you know what? What other people think of you and say about you behind your back is none of your business. Because if it was your business, they'd say it to your face and allow you to say, thanks for the advice. I'll let you know what I decide. And then go forward anyway. And that's a real solid, useful mindset to have. But it's also true, because what you say about, think about this, particularly when we were at school, we've all gossiped about people behind their backs. So what do they think they're doing? Have you seen their new trainers? Oh my God. You'd have been mortified if that person heard what you'd said, for the majority of us. It wasn't meant for them. It's not for their consumption. It's none of their business. So what they're saying about you is none of your business. Ignore it. And you know what? Whether you are successful or whether you fail, those same people are going to say exactly the same things about you. If you're successful, they're not going to say, fantastic, I always knew it. They're going to say, oh, what the hell's he doing? Look at him now. I bet he won't even say, he still won't buy around. You know, all that stuff. I mean, Steve's laughing. We're having a bit of a joke with it, but it's all true. People that don't want you to succeed, it's not about you. It's about them. And the people that really count are the people that are happy for you and will say, well, chances are, and I did this, and I'll be honest, I didn't have a business header on my Facebook page. And I had a conversation with Steve, and Steve said, you know, you're missing a trick here. And I said, well, I said, you know what, I'll put it up for a week and I'll see how I go, because I was uncomfortable with it, I'll be honest. And it's still there months later. Has anybody said anything to my face about it? No, they haven't. And the overwhelming odds are that what you're worried about, see, when you worry about something, what you're doing is you're fretting over something that hasn't happened yet. And if it hasn't happened yet, it might never happen. There's a 50% chance it'll happen, 50% chance it won't. Whatever you're thinking, whatever you're worrying about, well, you might as well just assume that it's going to be the good 50% and move forward, because otherwise you're not going to get anywhere. And rejection is in your head. You know, it's a sociological mechanism that we needed centuries ago, and was potentially okay when you were at school, and it probably got you out of a few scrapes. But as adults, that fear of rejection doesn't do anything. It doesn't exist. Rejection doesn't exist when you're older. Not if you're a sensible person and you realize that you've got control of your own emotions and control of your own behaviors. And you can sit yourself down and say, what's the worst that can happen? And Steve threw in a couple of resources that I'm going to get you to Google something. Tim Ferriss, who I'm sure you've seen his podcast, everybody has, he does an exercise called fear setting, which is really valuable. And if you Google Tim Ferriss fear setting, you can download a guide to how to do it. And basically that's not, when you put together a new project, it's saying not what am I expecting to achieve, but what's the worst that can happen if it all goes wrong? And you know what? You'd be really surprised. The actual worst that can happen is not an awful lot. So your business fails completely. you just get another job or start another business. It's fine.
And people get that fear as well, John. On that point, there's two things I just wanted to add and contribute. There is one is, like you say, it's the uncomfortable position you put the people around you in when you decide to, like you say, put your head above the pulpit. You put your new Facebook header image there. You know, I mean, when I did it on mine, when I changed mine, I had some people going, "Oh, cracking new header image you've got there, mate. What's happening? What are you on with?" And others like, "What have you put that up there for?" And I'm like, "New things in the pipeline." All right, yeah, okay. And well, that was it. So, you know, don't be fearful of that. And the other point I was gonna make, I've completely forgot. I'll be honest. It's just completely, completely gone out of my head.
I'll jump in there, Steve.
Please do.
I'm gonna give an example of what we're talking about here, which is effectively friends and family can be your worst critics. They can be kind of like a jailer because they're comfortable with who you are now. And they're afraid that if you become successful or you do something that they don't understand, they're going to lose that connection with you and that relationship with you.
That was the point.
There's a great example of this because way back in 1862, I used to work for the NHS, and I was working with people who wanted to stop smoking. And what you would find is that people that were trying to give up smoking, they'd come to sessions and you'd say, how's your week been? How's it gone? And their family members were hiding packets of fags under their pillows, or deliberately smoking in front of them, or, you know, have one of these, I'm not going to cook you dinner until you've had a cigarette. Now until I did that job, I would never have imagined that people would be so callous and so unsupportive to their members of their own family. But they do it all the time. And it's because those people, they were comfortable with, because everyone's got a conscience, right? Everyone knows if they're living up to their own potential. And a lot of people know that they're not living up to their own potential, because living up to your own potential is scary. It's putting yourself out there. And if you start doing that, it reminds all those people around you that they're not, and that they're too frightened to do it. You know, in that smoking example, the people that were trying to get others to smoke, it was because they knew that they shouldn't be smoking, and they wanted to give up. Deep down, they wanted to give up, but they couldn't bring themselves to do it. And having that support system of other smokers around you says, well, it's normal, it's fine, I'm not going to do it, I don't need to do it. Oh, they've given up smoking. All my support network is breaking up. And that's what's happening. You are part of a support network that you don't even realize for people around you. And when you get kickback, when you do something new, whether it's a new business or take up a new hobby or try and give something up or whatever, whenever you do any of that, what you're doing is you're providing a threat to that other person's support network for an issue that they might not even know they have, and you probably have no clue that they've got. But yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it comes from. And so if you do get that kind of kickback of, well, what the hell is this all about? Why have you done this? That's where it's coming from. You've done something that brings into question. They think that's a threat to their support network, or it's a threat to what it's breaking down, it's chipping away at a wall that they've got. And just be honest and say, well, this is what I'm doing now. Hopefully you're happy for me. And if you're not, well, that's really not my issue. Make sense, Steve?
Makes absolute sense, yeah. It's all about the fact that when you do something different, that it actually makes them feel uncomfortable because there's changes happening and they don't necessarily want change because they're comfortable in their bubble.
Well, they don't have a choice. You're inflicting change on somebody who doesn't have the choice.
Exactly that. Yeah. And it's how you overcome that mentally in your own mind, that you don't start getting that, oh, I've hurt somebody or I've done something wrong and it's affected them. you've got to be in the mindset and stay focused. And John would, I'm sure, be able to do a session for you if you feel this way. Just get in touch with John, and you can arrange directly. Obviously, you can book him for his time, and he'll help you with this. And I can speak wholeheartedly. He's helped me when I needed a number of sessions many years ago, and I wouldn't be doing and having the successes that I've had over the last, what's it been, John? 11 years there or thereabouts.
Something like that, yeah, definitely a decade.
Something like that. And I wouldn't have made companies literally the tens of millions of pounds I have done if I hadn't have enlisted John's help. So I'll be forever grateful for that. So it's all about making sure that you are mentally prepared for business. We've touched on this before, but it's an important topic as well to just reiterate there that John's just gone through. So, but where does this link into the how you prepare for organic marketing? Well, very much so, because when you start to make changes to what you're putting out there on the social platforms, people that know you and are used to seeing a certain post or certain shares, it's going to start to change, and that's going to shock them. It's going to get their attention, and it's going to get them to question you. But don't be worried about the response you get. Like John said, their opinion is just their opinion. It's not your destiny. It's not where you're heading. It's not what you're on this earth to do. If you feel you have got a purpose other than what people have been used to, don't let people stop you doing that. And that's why I say change those images that tell people what you do in business, how you help people. Obviously, don't spill everything obviously on an image, because it's just going to be too cluttered. You get them to find out more, and you start getting in touch with each other and having conversations away from the platforms. Zoom has been taking off massively lately, obviously with various restrictions and one thing or another. So that's another way that we could do that. I had a Google meeting with somebody on Tuesday of this week. It's the first meeting I've had with them on there, but usually it's just a phone call. And it says, can we join on Google Meets? Yeah, no problem at all. So, and that was it. I had my video camera on, they didn't. That's fine. I never mentioned the fact they didn't have the video camera on. I didn't want them to feel uncomfortable, but I want them to see me, because literally, this is a big investment that they are considering putting into me. So I felt it was important to say, look, this is me. When I saw their camera wasn't on, you get that instinct in the back of your mind, oh, shit, shall I turn my camera off? And I just thought, no, balls to it. They can see me. They can see who I am. They can see the whites in my eyes. They can see that when I'm talking, I'm not like this reading off a script and I think, oh, what do I say now? I'm looking them down the lens of the camera so they can see me. And when they ask me a question, I answer it. And I've still got eye contact through the camera, obviously, so they can see I'm not looking for help. I'm not trying to Google the answer. It's in here because of my years of knowledge and expertise. So don't be afraid to change what you've put out there at the moment. Have a clear message, a clear call to action. Hold people by the hand virtually, obviously, with images and wording and text. Don't forget the links. This is all part of your homework, by the way, in case you haven't picked up on this. This is all part of your homework. Check out, what John and I have got on our profiles on Facebook. Have a look at what we've got out there on the internet. See how we've crafted things. Obviously, there's a format to it. There's a process that we use and we go through in order to make sure that everything links together with anything in business. It's not just do this and it all works. There's other things that happen, and that's where my expertise comes in and where John's expertise comes in. That's why people, once they've got comfortable with us and the rapport's built up and they understand that, yes, you are the people or the person to help with the team of people you have, whether it's subcontracted or on payroll or whatever it might be, that you are the right person that I'm speaking to, that is going to take me from where I am now ultimately to where I want to be, whether it's what I do in business or what John does in life. So make those changes part of your homework. Do what John did. Put it up there and give it a week, give it 2 weeks, just see what happens. Now, if you are getting people connecting with you, brilliant. If there's nothing happening after that, get in touch with me and I'll have a look at it for you and we'll see why. It's probably the fact that you've just not connected all the dots, because like I said, there's more to just changing that image. When you're putting a website link in, you need them to go somewhere. It could even be to a business Facebook page. It could be to your LinkedIn business page. It could be to your LinkedIn personal profile page. So there's other areas that you can direct people to depending on what type of business you are, what the messages you're trying to get across, the engagement with the content that you're putting out there. You want people to absorb for them to, and this is part of the rapport building, before they reach out and go, can we have a conversation? Can we pick up the phone? Can we get on a Zoom? Can we meet in person? This is what it all leads to. And not having that in place, you're missing a huge trick. As John said earlier on, that's exactly what I said to him. He says, you're missing an opportunity for people to find out who you are at a distance without being seen to be looking. And there's loads of things you can do on LinkedIn with it as well. It's a really clever trick of you can actually look at your competition without them knowing that you're looking at them as well. Now, that's part of my masterclass, and so that's not a bit of free content. I'm sorry, I have to keep something, otherwise, I'll be a charity and I'm not in my business. So, but there's really good ways of doing that. But hopefully, I know we're there or thereabouts with the 30 minutes. I know John's got the stopwatch as normal.
Are exactly 30 minutes.
Wow, there we go. So for your homework, do what I've just suggested there, which is to have a look at changing your profile images on your social platforms. I know I didn't really go into Instagram as much. Instagram is very, very similar to the Facebook, though, although you don't have the big cover image. But make sure your profile fits who you are in business. You can have a personal Instagram, but you can have a business one as well. So if you need to set up a separate one for your business, that's exactly what I've done. I've got 2 Instagrams. I've got one for my personal stuff, and all my personal content goes on there, and there's a completely separate one. It's a different profile image because it's a different audience I'm looking to engage with and socialize with. That's the key word. You're socializing, you're never selling. All these people that keep putting posts on, buy this, buy that, come and have a look at what we're selling and one thing or another. People don't want that. They want to be entertained. They want to be something for fun to engage them. And business can be fun if you know what you're doing. Part of what I do is help people be creative. So make sure that you do those changes. Don't forget to put your links where I've said in your bio so people can find out more about you on your business section that you've got online, whether it's a landing page that we've said in the previous episodes, or whether it's your business page or your LinkedIn account. Make sure you've got those in and just see what happens over the next couple of weeks. You've obviously got to be active. Don't just do that and do nothing. You've got to be posting content on there as well that's relevant, that's engaging. Power content, people sometimes call it as, which really gets people's attention.
That sounds like that could be a session.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, it is part of the masterclass that I do, which is all about how you go about. And I know I've shared a lot about content creation in previous episodes. So, you've got some free content that people have paid me a lot of money to learn. And I just decided, I want to over-deliver on these episodes. So that's why there is a structure that we've done and a formula. If you remember that we did this before, about how you can write engaging posts, engaging content, engaging letters, be able to attract people into your landing page, or like John does, where a letter lands on the mat and it grabs people's attention for a number of reasons. Again, we've done it in previous episodes. Go and check them out and have a look. This is all free content for you guys to actually use and imply in your business. So the Behind the Business podcast and YouTube channel and website pages, it's all about helping you by giving you free content that you can use in your business right now to make a difference. So don't just let it sit on your hard drive and watch it and go, that was entertaining, but we offer a meal. Do something with it, please. I mean, it makes no difference to my business, but the ones that do something with it are the ones that's going to get in touch with John or myself and going, can you help me a bit more? And that has been happening for me. There's a couple of things that started to roll off the back of just these episodes that we haven't really promoted massively, but it's already started to get a little bit of attraction from people. One's in motorsport and another one's to do with various software development. So, and that's just come from this. So I urge you, please use the content and make those changes. And I'd love to hear what kind of responses you get, positive and negative, but drop the comments in below this video and we'll go through, maybe address some of those points for you. I'm sure it'll be something that John will probably be able to touch on if it's negative responses you're getting and how he can help you overcome that. Things that you can do, little what do you call them, John, when you do little tasks or you set yourself a little something, that thing you did with me with the colour and that, or the pea and you squeeze it and you throw it over your shoulder. What do you call those tasks, activities?
Well, it's an exercise, I guess.
Exercise, that's the word I'm looking for. It had escaped me. Exercise. That exercise tends to escape. That's why I sit down a lot. I don't stand up. That was it, exercise. John, did you want to do anything else or say anything else and contribute any more?
No, I think we've covered everything. That's a good 35 minutes. And as Steve says, if anybody's got any questions, if anybody's struggling with any of these issues or anything else, sort of from a psychological point of view, feel free to contact me and I'll see how I can help. I'm sure I can help.
I know he'll be able to help.
Yeah.
First-hand experience, definitely be able to help. And he's helped hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of people.
That is true. As you'll notice, I'm not quite as good at telling people as Steve is, but that's Steve does it for me. So yeah,
I'm happy to all day long, John. So
2 decades of client work.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're not in it for 2 decades, and if you crap, basically. So he's
That
obviously
is true.
getting it very right. And some of the names he's worked with, he's definitely getting it right. So, but anyway, as for episode 17, that wraps up today, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for watching. If you're watching it on a replay, if you are, by the way, just type in the comment, literally, just type the word replay if you didn't watch it. You know, what am I on about? No, I'm thinking of something else. Anna, forget that. I'm thinking of something else. My head was going off onto something else I was going to be doing later on. So scratch that. Just write whether you liked it or you didn't like it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you didn't understand that you might want us to go into more detail about. And don't forget, like it, share it, subscribe, click the bell on the YouTube channel, do whatever you want just to spread the love that we're sharing on Behind the Business, because that's what we like. Until the next episode, have a great time. We'll speak to you real soon.
Take care.